I've seen a lot of videos lately on security officer, law enforcement duty belts. I thought I would like to show an example of my duty belt, at least my first duty belt, where actually there is no firearm. So there's a lot of security officers out there that don't have firearm permits yet. Perhaps they just started in the law enforcement industry, and most unarmed guards don't have a duty belt at all to speak of, and that's most likely, I guess, because they don't have permits, so they assume there's really no way to defend themselves. So I'd like to give some examples, or at least in this video I'm going to show one example of a relatively inexpensive duty belt setup where you only need one permit, and that would be for your mace. Everything else you can get help you perform your duties a whole lot better, feel a little bit safer for relatively an inexpensive cost. First, I'd like to point out this is a nylon belt. As you can see, it's pretty flexible. It's I don't really like the leather or the mesh. It's like this material here, duty belts, because in time they become stiff. You have to treat them a lot. I do notice they'll also stain your clothing, as you can see here on the side. Let me see if I can get closer here. They start to fray, and they become worn out, look a little shabby. Okay, so first I'm going to go here. Oh, keep in mind, I've already done this, so just take my word on it. You don't want to have just a regular belt or any other kind of belt, really. You want to have your under belt that your duty belt is going to fasten to. Again, this is nylon as well. You'd like for it to be about this width, I guess. Maybe, what is that, 2 inches? 1 3/4 inches, something like that, because it's going to have to fit with these fasteners here. You see, so let's say you put this belt on first, and then this fastener is going to fit around both belts, and that'll keep your duty belt on pretty secure. Alright, so let me do this first. We're going to go over here. Here we have, oh, let me show you this also. You see that little hole there? And you go on this side, and you can see this button. You really want to have this button. You don't want your duty belt falling off on you, or let's say your fastener prongs here become loose or distorted in some way. These will not release without pressing this button first. So that end obviously plugs in here. You press this button, and then they release. That's the belt that you want. I think the belt alone is something like I don't know, $25, something like that. The underbelt is I think I paid $10, something like that. So to start, you'll have maybe, let's say, a $35 investment for the underbelt and the duty belt. Now, this is nylon. Actually, all of my accessories here are nylon. I like nylon again because it's flexible, and I'll show you why. Flexibility is really important. You can buy a handcuff case for single cuffs and double cuffs, basically 2 sets of cuffs. This actually is a single cuff case, but again, the beauty of nylon is that it's flexible. It's so flexible that I was actually able to get 2 sets of cuffs in a single cuff case, in effect saving me money. I think the cost of a double cuff case is about 50% more on the average. I actually like to have one set. If you notice, this cuff case is very close to the front of my belt. Easier access. And I'll take my second set. This is the middle of the duty belt, so of course this would be at my back. And of course, to save me some money, I just use the fastener also as a cuff holder. Pretty much like that. Yes, I think this thing was about another 10 bucks, let's say. $7.95, $10, we'll round it off, let's go $10. I believe with the duty belt, I also purchased, came with 4 of these fasteners. There's one in here actually. Basically, again, these fasteners go around your inner belt to keep your duty belt nice and secure. Alright, so here, let's go. Secondly, we've got a key holder. Now this teardrop shape deal basically protects your pants, your keys from really annoying you, also marking or staining your pants. I do keep my handcuff key. Actually, I've got 2 here, and I have 1 spare that I always have hidden, and I just keep here 2 on my keychain. Pretty much like that. I have seen these. I don't know where you get them. Where it actually has the pull cable. You could pull it out like such. I don't really think that's necessary for me, and I believe also in some cases that's probably dangerous. So we're going to move over. This funny looking contraption is actually a blessing. It's my radio holder, but you can see there's many adjustments on it. Actually, if you go on this side, that's Velcro. This peels up, so I could adjust the thickness of it. And then here, there's another, this peels up, so I could adjust the depth. So I can have a smaller or larger, wide or thin radio. This obviously fits the size of my radio. I believe that was $12, something like that. I have another fastener here. Now let's move over. This deal was actually my mace case holder. Excuse me, OC spray. As you can see, there's a large gap here, which I really don't like. However, it actually fit perfectly the large canister of OC spray. But as you can see, I now have a much smaller can, and I'll explain that why. I'll explain a little bit later why I changed from a larger can to a small. Now this you actually do have to have a permit for. I believe it was relatively inexpensive. The class was only maybe 4 hours, something like that, which in all honesty is about 2 hours. 4 hours of research or material, and you can complete it in about 2 hours given effort. Again, here's my spare handcuffs, just a regular snap-on duty belt bracket. Let me see. This deal I think was about maybe $7, something like that. What I really want to do with this, just to save money, I'm considering Velcro here in place of Velcro cube down here, and then instead of using these 2 buttons for larger canisters, I could actually go all the way down and fasten it like that, and that's more of a secure fit, as you can see. Again, I believe this was about $7. I'm going to go over here to what everybody knows you absolutely have to have. is your badge. If you notice also, you must have a badge number. I believe in every state of our union, you must have a badge number. If you're working for a company that does not give you a badge number, you're working for a company that is not really looking out for you very much. Any subject that you become in contact with, certainly if you have a few issue citations on your post or what have you, the customer or the subject must have the right to complain about the officer. Basically, you have to identify yourself. If you look under here, there's actually a clip right there, and this is my badge holder. It's leather, actually. I do think that ran me about 10 bucks, but I like to have my badge on my belt, given the fact that I wear a lot of different shirts working different events. However, well, some shirts have sewn on patches. I'm sure you've seen those, and they come in different colors, but I'd like to have one thing that's a constant, and that is I have the same badge on my duty belt no matter what shirt I'm wearing. Now this deal, I actually got it from Walmart. I'm sure you can find it on the internet. This is a really cool deal. If you look here, this is actually a flexible material, so it fits many different size phones. Now, phone, of course, is extremely important if you need to call for law enforcement or any sort of backup or medical assistance. You got to have a phone with you at all times. This is a hard shell case. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that's actually not leather, that's plastic with a leather coating here. But the sides are plastic. Actually, it's on a swivel. This is really how I wear it. I pull the phone out this way. If you look on the side, you can see that there's actually material there, which is sort of a nylon flexible material. You see that? How it squeezes in and out? That's for different size phones. If I have a fatter phone, it will expand. Smaller phones will contract. This is a really cool deal. Unfortunately, this thing was about $30 just for the case alone. Again, it's on a swivel. It's a must-have. I'm so extremely glad that I got this thing, instead of having a phone in my pocket or, you know, your cheaper cases that fall off, what have you. Let's go over here. This is a standard. I'm actually going to replace this with a multi-tool. I found several instances, like if I had to go through a chain link fence or a repair fence or something like that. I really would like the use of a multi-tool. However, I still have used this, and fortunately it was only $12. It's a basic pocket knife. It came with the case for the 12 bucks. I believe this was it Walmart? I believe I got this from Walmart, but again, self-explanatory. You just find your own pocket knife, right? Make sure you get a good one. Let me see, what is that? That's a Winchester. Winchester is always a good product, I've found. I've never been disappointed with them yet. Now, we're going to move down to last but not least. Oh, I'm sure you've seen batons. You know you have to have a permit for it. But I really, to be honest, I've found, as of yet, I get the same use from your standard mag light. Actually has, mine has, I have one that has 4 D-cell batteries, one has 6 D-cell batteries. It's heavy. This is a mag light holder. Basic standard, I believe, $4, I believe this was. However, I couldn't find it with a nylon strap, so this is probably the only leather. Now we're going to go to this thing, which I'm sure most of you were looking at, and you're wondering, if this is a duty belt for an unarmed officer, why is there a pistol grip coming out of a holster? Now, let me see. You've probably seen, I don't know, endless advertisements, a few videos about this exact weapon. However, a lot of times it's in baby blue or pink or what have you, and the security industry hasn't really embraced it, because it seems like it's It's sold to women pretty much. However, I've actually used this product several times. I'm really glad I have it. Also, admittedly, there is an intimidation factor just for the fact that there's a pistol grip in a holster on your belt. If you're in the security industry, you already know it's a lot easier to reach compliance from a subject simply because you have this pistol grip sticking out of your holster. I don't propose that anyone walk around with a plastic gun. I believe that's illegal. However, this is not. As long as you have a mace permit, which I said earlier is relatively cheap, about 4-hour class, you can buy a mace gun. I'm extremely happy with this one. It does have weight to it. It's a little bit larger than I anticipated from the advertisement that I saw. So let me walk you through this really quickly. First, you can see this obvious switch here. When it's on top, it is on safe mode. So now we're relatively safe. It will not fire. If you look in the front, 1/2 squeeze of this trigger. Actually, not even half. Let's say 10-50% of a squeeze. You'll have a light. You squeeze it twice, you have a flasher. It's actually really disorienting for if you actually have to pull this out on any subject. As soon as they see the flashing, blinking light, certainly at nighttime, it does put everyone on alert. Let's unload this thing. If you look here, you'll see that chrome switch there. You're going to push that, slide that forward meaning the front end of the gun. That goes forward. Drop the gun forward. There you go. As I said earlier, I'd explain why I changed canister sizes. And this is why. Here's another canister. Basic mace, pepper gun, OC spray. If you look here on the top, can you see that? That disc with the pinhole in the top? This disc you do not want to alter, bend, melt, twist. You need to be really delicate with this deal. If this disc is not level to the perimeter of this can, it will not slide into this hole. If it does go into the hole, certainly when you pull the trigger, you will not aim straight, and you'll miss your target. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario, which I've done, I'm ashamed to say, let's say this disc is not level and you can't really tell if your hole, if the release, the pinhole that's in the can is actually on the surface or not of this gun. So you need to make absolutely sure that that thing is level, because if it's not, you'll close it like this. When you squeeze that trigger, the OC spray will spray out of the top, it'll spray out of the side here, and actually out of the bottom. Just basically, it seems like it exploded in your hand. So you have to be really careful and not touch this disc. Right? Just be really careful with it. When you store it in your belt, you make sure that you keep the cap that it came with, this white little lid here. That way you're relatively safe. Keep it out of the sun so it doesn't distort or warp or what have you. I'm going to slide this back in here. I like to give it a little twist like this. Just like that. You could actually feel it set into the hole. That's out of the hole. You see how that's not totally in that hole? If I turn it like that, there you go. Get it? Now we're going to close that. There it is. Now this guy, believe it or not, came to my front door for $33. Got it on Amazon. I believe the highest that I've seen it, it went all the way up to $60. But I do believe I've actually purchased 2 of these. I got one for another gentleman that works in the same security force that I do. This is a flathead screwdriver. You could actually turn it with your fingernail. You've got two tiny little batteries. They look like watch batteries, and that is for this light deal. And there you go. $33. Best investment I made for this duty belt. However, it did not come with this holster. I believe this holster cost maybe another $12. So there you go. This is the duty belt, just an example, for an officer that does not have a firearm.